So last session, we focused on answering this question: how might I rearrange my environment to support my goals and dreams? This is a question that if you have to make any particular goal come true, this is a question that you must always keep at the front burner of your mind. And I'm even suggesting to all of us here, because everyone in the program is a parent, to use some of these tools to help your children to succeed. This is a very critical tool to succeed for the children and for us as parents. So you take your daughter or your son and sit down with him. What's your goal this term? How are you going to rearrange your environment to support this goal? Okay, you want to come up with A's. You want to make the school volleyball team. You want to get into the field and track event. So let's sit down. How are we going to arrange your environment to make sure that you succeed? And then you go through these things. See, the reason I'm saying this is the Ezra principle is very powerful. Many times we don't learn until we teach. So take your children, sit down with them, and then walk through that. All right, you want to make the volleyball team. How do we rearrange your environment to make that goal happen? And that's going to involve waking up times, practice, whatever he needs to do in his room to make it look like the room where someone who would accomplish that goal. It might be to put up some quotes in the room or to put up some lawn tennis stars, pictures in the room, paint the place different, whatever. So you teach it and all that. So that's what we focused on last session, because it is impossible for you to achieve your goal if you don't give any particular attention to the systems that you put in place to make it happen. It won't happen. The system is like the woman's womb. And imagine you trying to grow a baby, which is a type of the goal you're trying to achieve, in an environment other than the womb of a woman. And that's what many of us try to do. We have goals, but we don't plant the seed of those goals into a womb, into a system that will make it happen. So I need you to constantly look at your system, because if your system fails, the goal will fail. You really have to imbibe this, to let it sink. And just like God, focus on building systems, not just running activities. I'm starting a challenge, a personal challenge, that for 1,000 days, I'm going to go live for 1,000 days, non-stop, 7 p.m. every day, Facebook Live. Can you begin to imagine the impact of doing one thing consistently like that for 1,000 days? I guarantee you, if anybody here, I guarantee you, if you come up with something like that and then commit to it and do it 90 days, 365 days, 1,000 days, you are going to instantly break the backbone of poverty, not just in your own generation, but in the next 5 to 7 generations. You can write this thing down. And so, having that in mind, the power of systems and creating the environment to support the ladder, to support your climb, we will now move into what I want to share with today. Then each of you is going to take turns to share. Now, so what we're going to be focusing today, I was inspired by the scripture in the mid-1980s. It must have been sometime around 1986. And a friend shared this passage with me. And it was the story of Gideon. It said, Gideon came to Jordan. When they came there, he said, he and the 300 men who were with him crossed over, exhausted, but still in pursuit. So you need to write this down in your journal. That you are exhausted and tired is not an excuse to stop pursuing. And I can tell him how when I meet people, I work with people. It's easy for me to tell when people are exhausted. So, but by spiritual principle, being exhausted is not an excuse to stop or to throw the goal away. You've got to do it exhausted. And you've got to put that thing in your mind. Do it exhausted. And then if they had stopped pursuing because they were exhausted, they wouldn't have won that battle, even though God had given them victory. Have you ever imagined or wondered why every time God tells you to do something, he says, be strong? Look at God himself. He's giving you victory. He's with you. But he's telling you, be strong. Because you live in this realm. You live in this physical realm. In this realm that is also rigged by the world's systems. This realm is rigged to make you tired, to exhaust you. And God, who made everything, knew that. And he says to you, you'd better be strong. Joshua, you are going to lead these people into the promised land. You'd better be strong and courageous. You would imagine. And he said, I'm with you. But he said, be strong and courageous. And there lies why many of us fail. There lies why many of us die with potential, because we were never strong or courageous. Why is it that every time God makes an appearance to you or to a man or to a woman, first thing, do not be afraid. So you have to understand, because I see many of us in the way we are pursuing our goals. I'm telling you, if you live next door to me, I'll be flogging you, like giving you 24 canes, like, I mean, 24 whatever, it's in Bulala they call it, like every day. Just easily get tired, Why? As I'm sitting here, my little nephew is over there, my wife is here. I have not left this desk since about 6:30 a.m. I have not had my morning bath. I have been creating, I have been journaling, I have been writing, I have been producing, I have been posting, sitting here. It's after I finish with the people that I'm going to take a bath since morning. And so when it begins to unfold, people will not know the work ethic that went into what is unfolding. Have I been exhausted? Yes. Have I been tired, discouraged? Yes. But I've been sitting in this chair since morning. I had to even skip service because there were things I have to do. We have lots of stuff to do tomorrow, and there's so many moving parts. I'm exhausted, but I'm in pursuit. So what I'm going to do right now is to share with you a very, very powerful tool, something you should not forget, a very, very powerful framework you should always keep in mind when you are trying to achieve a goal. That is also what I use in my coaching, and I've been using it on you. Now I want to give it to you so that you can also use it on yourself and also use it for your spouse, use it for your children. I always say that whatever you learn from me, teach it to your children. Start with the family. When you are teaching it, and because that's what I do myself every Saturday, I teach my family. I'm the priest, family priest. I teach them. We talk about everything, and I share tools with them. We do exercises and things like that. And then many times the things I share with you came from the things I shared with my family. I need you to be 100% involved in your life. Is this making sense? Please type in the chat. The emotional cycle of change. I need you to pay very close attention and understand this very, very well. Then we can talk about it. So I use this a lot in my work with people and also with myself. And this is a very powerful tool that's been developed. It's been around, for a while, probably before I was born or something. So this is saying that when you start on a project or you start on a 90-day goal, like we are working on, you normally start from a place of optimism. So if you look at the graph, there are actually two boxes. The top is optimism, and then the bottom is pessimism. So the top is positive, the down is negative of some sort. So whatever you begin a new thing, and this is used also in change management, because what you are going through is actually a change management project. Because you're saying this is how I am day 0. And by day 90, this is what I dream of becoming. This is the shift I dream of making in my life by day 90. So it's called change management because you have to pull yourself from day 0 to day 90. In between, this is what you would have, this curve. So you start with uninformed optimism. You are very excited, you're very hopeful because of the dream. Many of you, I remember the day you signed up for the implementation coaching, how excited you felt about the journey. So that's the first stage, uninformed optimism. You're very excited. You like what you see, what you visualize would happen. You saw what was possible working with me, for instance, or putting yourself, investing the whole of you in a particular idea, a particular goal for the next 90 days. So the promise of what you will become after day 90 was very exciting. But you didn't know what it will involve. Now, so you started, that optimism started dropping. And then you slip into the zone 2. And that zone number 2 is called informed pessimism. Because by now, you're realizing, to do this webinar on accountability coaching, it's not easy. It doesn't look like it's a lot of work. All the posts I have to make, how will I even get the people? Meanwhile, I don't have the time. I'm still working. That's the pessimism. And then as you're thinking about that, even all the work I have to do, I have to watch. Some of you haven't even watched the replays. And some of you don't take the time to book the one-on-one, special with me. And so you realize the difficulties and then you start feeling less enthusiastic. And then sometimes that's even where you start having the buyer's remorse. Oh, should I even have signed up for this thing? Did I really have the time? Maybe I could have used the funds for something else. And then as you let those thoughts drip, you slide into stage 3. And that's called the valley of despair. By this time, you're feeling very, very discouraged. You're doubting, can I really pull this thing through in 90 days? Can I really make this thing happen? Is it really possible? Is this goal attainable? I want to make 1.5 million a month for the next 3 months for 90 days. Is it really doable? Look at this economy. The economy is really terrible. And the market is difficult. When I put out an ad there, people are not responding. Oh, business is dragging. Then all those reasons pull you down. And of course, it is at the valley of despair that so many people emotionally check out. But then for a few people like Gideon, who say, or like Obo, who recognize that exhaustion and despair are false positives. They are fake. You know why they are fake? They are optical illusions. Because the moment you've dreamt about something, it's automatically happened in the spirit realm. It's done because nothing that you can't achieve can enter your mind. If ever it's entered your mind, it means it is doable. And again, if someone else of the 8 billion of us has done it, has succeeded, for goodness sake, if another woman has succeeded in coming out of total, like a broken home, like coming out of all kinds of whatever, and then built herself into a worldwide phenomenon, like the woman, Lisa Sasevich, that I attended her program in San Diego, went from nothing to where she was making up to $1 million a month a fellow woman, everything you have, she has. Then why not you? What is the problem? Making your small 500,000 naira. So a lot of people drop off there at the valley of despair. But then the moment you realize, oh, this is optical illusion, this thing is just what comes as an obstacle to test, do I really want this thing? Do I really want it strong enough? Because a lot of people are not really committed to a goal. So the slightest, just like the parable of the sower, when they germinate, which is what happens during uninformed optimism. They germinate, they hear the word, they just germinate. Yeah, it's possible. I can do this 90 days, yes. And yeah, financial freedom is possible for my family. We can make it. We can have time and location freedom. I should be able to travel with my family to anywhere, to Bali, to Seychelles, to wherever, to France, to the US, anytime. It is possible to create that lifestyle. Yay! Then the very first obstacle, very first temptation, very first trial, you drop it at the value of this despair. I no do again. I can't come and kill myself, like Nigerians say. I can't come and kill myself. And then you drop off. Now, then after some time, you start another thing. Now, the problem with this is when your brain, when your subconscious mind now gets used to dropping off, to starting something and now finishing it, it becomes a pattern. So you attend another event and then they say, okay, 90 day, whatever, you start another thing. At that same place you dropped off, your mind will remember, okay, remember, your brain will say, remember, we usually have issues here. This is usually where you stop, so you better. But if you become wise enough and you say, I'm going to continue irrespective of my feelings, because it is the feelings that kill us. We don't feel like it. And then we're not seeing any immediate results. And we don't know that something is still happening. When I started posting, even now as I post, I post, some posts, well, people don't look at it. And then sometimes people look at it and then they come up with all kinds of crazy comments and things like that. But I'm getting DMs every day, including today. I got 2. And I'm getting DMs of people say, I wanted to take my life. And I read you and I binged on your content. And then I decided not to take my life. How much in billions of dollars is worth that impact alone? That somebody wanted to, how much can you pay me to be worth not just one person, not 2 people who want to kill themselves. And they were mostly men. In fact, all of them have been men for some strange reason. And then they read my materials on social media and then they DM me and say, thank you. I wanted to take my life. But when you said this, I said, let me give myself another chance. How much can you pay for that? For one human life? So, but it's easy to look at things are not happening. People are not signing up for financial fitness challenge and things like that. I've been expecting that, by now, 1,000 people should rush for this thing, this kind of value. But they are not seeing it. It's value of despair. They are not seeing it. For August, we just have, I don't think we have up to 10 people. And then with all the material, all the content every day on LinkedIn, on Facebook, everything, 10 people. That is the valley of despair. This is a very perfect point for me to say, forget this thing. After all, I don't need it to eat. There is a mission. And I know that there are millions of people out there who need this thing. So what do? I start going up again to stage 4. Then what happens in stage 4? As you find ways to solve the obstacles, the obstacle of procrastination, the obstacle of not finding time within your 24 hours to work on your most important goals, the obstacle of fear, the obstacle, different obstacles, and then you start finding ways, the obstacle of self-doubt and imposter syndrome, and then you start finding ways and tools to overcome them. All of a sudden, you begin to see hope again. Now, I am beginning to, because I'm moving from the valley of despair myself to informed optimism. So I'm finding ways, I'm beginning to see that paid ads might be an opportunity that I haven't explored. So I've hired a media agency that I'm working on. And from what I'm seeing so far, I'm beginning to see a little optimism as I'm solving the problems. And then from informed optimism, you start gaining traction because you see, the more you solve the obstacles rather than avoid them, the more you build your mental muscles and your resilience. And the more you build your muscles and solve more problems, the more confident you become. And then all of a sudden, one day, boom. So instead of 14 people enrolling for Financial Fitness Challenge, you're seeing 5,000 people. And then sometime you see 10,000 people. And it's like, how did this happen? Now, this would never have happened if I dropped off at 3, the valley of despair. Is this making sense to you? Type in the chat. Is this making sense? Anyone? Not seeing the chat. Maybe that's why. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Great. Now, so what do you do? So I want to recommend a strategy for each of these zones in the cycle of change in your change management. So I want to recommend a strategy for each of them. So I need you to pay attention. So for the first stage, that's where you have the uninformed optimism. Your strategy is okay, stay excited, but start learning more about the journey ahead. That's what I've been doing for you unconsciously without you knowing it. Because I knew at the time you signed up, there was optimism, but it was uninformed. And then through the exercises and the worksheets and the things I've been giving you, it's actually to move you forward, to start learning more about the journey ahead, to start learning more about the systems and processes you have to put in place, the disciplines, to start learning more about how you can take control of your time, how you can focus and prioritize, how you can deal with procrastination, because these are the thieves. It's not that you're not capable. Look at all of you in this place, extremely capable individuals. Is it Akula Azar that I've known for this years? Is it Ruth? Is it Langray? You are all very, very capable individuals. But almost all of you, because I know you one by one, almost all of you are living far below your privileges. You're living far, far, far below your capabilities. You don't lack capability. You just need that focus, that heightened productivity, that heightened focus and resilience to move yourself, to move your butts from where you are right now to where you should be, influencing the world, having the financial freedom for your family, because we were never designed to work for money. Have you ever wondered why Jesus said, do not labor for food? And many of us confuse our job with our work. Your work was not designed to give you provision. So that's why sometimes I do my work, whether I'm paid or not. But when I see the potential, for that transformation, for that work, for that kingdom work, to sow a seed that can explode. I might sow a seed free right now, like what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing with you. That's not usually what I charge to have this kind of meeting. But because it's my work and I'm not doing it for food, I know that a seed can be planted in my work with you, a seed that can take you from where you are right now to somebody completely different. Like I can easily see some of you here in another 5 to 10 years running a business or a retail chain that has 100 retail locations. Can you imagine my job? How much is that worth in money terms? If in the next 10 years, the newspapers all over the place are talking about Fumi or Redota because she's being recognized all over the place. She's being asked to come speak to United Nations, to African Union, different places because of the success that she's achieved. And then as she stands there speaking at Harvard or at Stanford or this event in New York that's being streamed all over the world, and Fumi says, I really want to thank, there's a special person in my life I really want to thank for how he inspired me to be where I am today. And everybody, who is this? Who is this? And all that. And then millions of people in the world are watching. And then she mentions Obo, Awoke, Obo. How much is that worth? That's so 350,000 couldn't have paid for that. So that's why we do the work we do. The strategy for the second place is when you find yourself in informed pessimism and things start going down, discouragement starts setting in, break tasks into smaller steps, because when you see them as big chunks, you just break down, okay? But you wake up every morning and it's just, okay, for today, what needs to happen today to move to the next stage? It might just be phone call. It might just be planning the content calendar. It might just be doing some kind of research, researching the market. Break it down into steps, all right? Small steps. And then focus on small wins. Because the power of small wins, like I look for small wins every single day. It could be in what I'm posting. It could be like one day I had about 600 or 700 people follow me on Facebook one day. At another day, I had 400. They watched my reels. And so in under 1 year, we've grown from like 10,000 to 47,000 as today in less than 1 year. I think we started that campaign, Williams and myself, like October last year or something. We grew from like 10,000 followers to 47 today. Small wins. Okay. Then 3, in the valley of despair, please don't go it alone. Seek support. Talk among yourselves. I don't see any conversations among you people. Nobody talks. Nobody is saying anything. Nobody is like, hey, this is where I am today. Does anybody have a contact or something or whatever? Pick up a call. Your phone. Call Langray. Call Ruth. Call Esther. Talk among you. Seek support. When you're in the valley of despair, that is where you are almost dropping off out of the race. Call somebody. Seek support. That's why you have your one-on-one support with me. Use it, take advantage of it. Okay. And then also you encourage yourself. Scripture said that David encouraged himself in the Lord. At some point, you really need to encourage yourself, and remind yourself, which was why I kept on stressing that very first exercise I gave you. It was because of zone 3, but you didn't know. I'm just telling you that was why. I told you to tell me what it will look like, what it will feel like after 90 days, and you have achieved this thing, this goal you put. Remember that exercise? Anybody? You remember it? It's because of valley of despair, because I needed you, when you despair, to pick up that thing again and read to yourself. Now I'm earning additional 300,000 naira in my whatever. I'm able to pay for house rent with ease. I'm able to do this and all that. You put that. So when you're in valley of despair, you now think, you go back and remind yourself, this is why I started this in the first instance. If you do not go back to your why, you're going to fall off. Then when you now start seeing the curve going up again, and you're picking up hope, picking up and gaining confidence because you're solving problems, celebrate your progress. Okay, so when I meet with you one-on-one, I usually ask you, give some update. What has worked? All right, so that we can celebrate it. Then you keep refining your approach. And then when you get to 5, there's no stopping until the day you take your last breath. What do? You start another 90-day focus. There's a lot, because for 90 days, there are 4 groups of 90 days in 1 year. I believe I'm correct, right? Yes. So 4 quadrants, quantum like that. If you, every 90 days, you focus and accomplish one major thing, I am telling you, you'll shock yourself, in 2 to 3 years. Okay. So this is where that's what it is. Okay, time to hear from you. What are your reflections on this? So each of you will share. Then, as you're sharing, I need you, actually, before you start doing that, everybody type in the chat. Where are you right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just type your number on this curve.